What is going on here? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Today we're going to be revisiting our Does It Drift video series where we purchase vehicles in-game, build those cars up to drift spec, and then test those cars rigorously to see if they have the ability to be drift cars. Yeah, today is one of those cars that I've been waiting for a long time. I've been waiting for it for a couple months, a month, however long it's been since they released the Doomsday Heist and we got to see all the drip feed cars. Yes, I'm talking about the Karin 190, the Datsun 240. Let's go see this thing. Now, I know it costs 900 grand because I seen it. You show me red, I get red. That's how it's been lately. So 900,000, I did have to go get a little shark card. They offered me the 50% additional, so I figured I'd go get a $50 shark card. So we're back in business for the most part. Now it's just time, and I am kind of summing everything up that I need to sum up. So we're getting pretty close to getting back to action here on Black Sheep TV. And here it is, my first look at the car, $900,000. First off, I got to make sure it's a rear-wheel drive car, not a four-wheel drive car, which at least we're in business with that. Oh boy, my heart's racing right now. This is the one car, as I've said, this is the one car out of anyone in the drip feed. If it's going to be able to drift, this is the one that I want to be able to drift. Now I know this one has quite a good little chunk of customizations too, so we're going to take it to the bank on this thing. I would really like to see if this thing drifts before I spend a ton of money on it. Maybe that's what we'll do. We're just going to get the upgrades that we need, and then if it does drift, we're going to come in here and we're going to put some money into it, because like I said, there's a substantial amount of options here. But when you're talking $15,000, that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so let's do the engine tune. You got to do that. That's mandatory. Exhaust is, I mean, it's kind of somewhat crucial. Again, I don't know if we're going to run the exhaust upgrade right now, just because it looks like there's a lot of different options. Hood, no, where is it? Transmission, turbo, and suspension. Those are the things we need. Suspension. We'll go all the way down with the sport suspension. We'll come back and mess with that if I feel necessary. 40,000 turbo, 50,000. So we've already spent about 200 grand on this dang car. Wheels, I know people like to run down the bandwagon of wheels don't affect it, and that's fine. You can go down that bandwagon, but you're not going to find me on that bandwagon. So we can keep it pretty much stock. These are pretty much the ones that are already on their stock, but we'll be able to paint them now. I don't know what color scheme we want to go with. Man, my microphone is going out. I must have stepped on it or something. You definitely don't want to put bulletproof tires if you're still at that point in your drift game. Windows, we'll do a little light smoke on them. Everything else, we're not going to mess with. I want to bring this thing to the track, and I want to see if it drifts at all. You know, that last Does It Drift, I think it was the last one. I spent so much money on a car that it was not a drifter. So it kind of led me to the point where there's no point in spending a ton of money on a car unless you really want the car and you know it drifts. So I know this will be like, oh, you didn't even spend your money on it. I had someone arguing that the Elegy Retro drifts. I just didn't put the engine and the turbo in it. Yeah. So we know it's rear-wheel drive. We know we got the upgrades in there. Let's get it to the track. We did just release all the Pro-Line tracks, so maybe we'll bring it to one of those. I decided against the Pro-Line drift. I decided against the Pro-Line drift track. We're going to bring it to the Ebisu school course. Ebisu school course. We got ourselves another sports classic car as well here, guys. It seems like they're really growing that class. Well, it doesn't seem like it. They definitely are really growing that class as of late. Let's go up here in the mountain and let's stance this vehicle up, see how we can get it stanced, if we can get it stanced. And let's see if we can answer this ultimate question tonight. Does it drift? We're stanced up, looking good. I triple stanced it in the back, so it's not possible. Alright, let's see what we got here. I'm very, very curious with this car. I'm very hopeful with this car. It kind of drifts. I mean, it does drift. It's just really, really unique. This is a very unique style of a drift car. Okay, so after getting a couple laps in, what I notice is that it has a weird little bogging thing. Now, it doesn't bog within the drift, though. That's what I'm saying, how it was a unique drifter. I pretty much immediately figured out what I mean by that. When you get down into a lower RPMs, it doesn't have the power to pull out mid-RPM. You have to be in the higher RPM ratio for it to go and actually keep burning out in first gear, to where you can kind of just hit the trigger like right here. See how when I hit the trigger, there's nothing? It's just a bog. Until there, we got low enough to where we could reset it. So maybe that's what it is. We're actually in second gear. That's probably what it is. It just doesn't have the power to pull out of the bottom of second gear. Right there. Got to get up a little bit more in RPMs, and it will drift, but it likes to straighten out. So you got to kind of... The Viserys is a very, very unique drift vehicle as well, though. Like, it really wants to spin out. This one kind of wants to straighten out. Not as bad as something like the... Oh, boy, I'm trying to think of one of those cars that were really bad straightening out. The Spectre is one of them. The Pariah is one of them. They're just not good drift cars. I noticed tapping the left trigger oddly kind of helps it get out of its little slumpage there. Its little... And I lied. I tried it a bunch of times here. Just speaking. Didn't help at all. Of course you put me way out here. I guess that's where the track is, isn't it? So now I got a little drive ahead of us, but we're going to go and we're going to get to a Los Santos Customs, and we're going to go over the customizations that you can actually do in this car. Okay, so we had the arch covers that we got. So it looks like carbon fiber are going to be the most expensive, and that's a full body arch there. The front has a little bit of a kink. The thing that I don't like about the arches is the wheels don't extend out. They should be also extending out. That's what wide bodies are all about. I suppose we'll go with that trim. And I guess that was the step in updating it too, wasn't it? Brakes, I don't ever do that. Front bumper, let's see what we're rocking here. I did see a couple of them. There really isn't much you can do at all. I think just the removal looks probably the best. Engine, the engine block, oh, of course. We're going to have all types of stuff here. I'm not going to get into all that. It just, there's no point. There's no point for me. Brace bar again, engine detail. The engine looks cool though. I'm glad that they do allow this to happen, because people do, oh, you can even change the intercooler in there. That's kind of something to look at there. What I was going to say is people do like car shows in this game. There's no denying it. I mean, it's kind of something that's a little bit odd to me. I don't know if I enjoy it or not, but I'm just going to leave it alone for right now. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, too. Alright, so I'm definitely going to go either through the hood or with the vent or without the vent as well. I'm thinking with the vent. Explosives, we don't do none of that. Grill. Okay, so we can remove the grill, change the color, mesh it. You can remove the hood. I think this is the first vehicle they allow us to remove the hood on. So there you go. If you want to upgrade that engine, you can make it look even nicer. There's a lot of cool upgrades to this car. I gotta give it that. Man, I'm torn on the hood. I definitely want to put a hood. I'm thinking this one is my style. I think we're going to leave it alone, in all honesty. That's how we do. Horn, leaving the horn alone. Lights, I usually always leave the lights alone. And neon is one of those things that messes with the traction a little bit. Not with the normal car, so don't freak out in the comment section. I'm talking in the drifting thing. Once you stance a car and you want to drift it efficiently, you'll notice a difference. Old school bronze, anyone? Oh, we got the trim color as well. I guess we're just going to go with just a black, since we kind of went with an old school color here. Spoiler, yeah, it does mess with the traction down there, so I'm not going to put any spoiler on there. I think it does add quite a bit of character to this car, putting one on there, for sure it does. But with that little bit of extra traction that it's going to give you, oh man, they really did it there, didn't they? It's just not quite worth it for our deal here. We already put all that stuff on there. So we did stance up normally, which makes me feel pretty comfortable about just stancing up normally over here in free mode. And let's get this thing a grade, shall we? Otherwise, this video is going to be going on and on and on. So, in Does It Drift, we grade these things on 3 different aspects. First off is going to be cost. After cost is driftability. Once we cover the driftability... Oh, you're going to kill me, huh? Don't think so. And yes, we did stance it up in free mode, so this one is probably one you'll be seeing a little bit in free mode. It's not the craziest of drifters, so that's... Oh, man. So that's the big thing. What, are you really coming after me? I didn't think so. So cost up front, expensive. $900,000 for the base model with extensive amounts of upgrades. We're not going to talk about the upgrades, but we're talking at least... we're talking at least probably 1.3, 1.4 million if you want to deck this thing out to the maximum potential. I put in 200,000 just to get it up to the performance upgrades, and then yeah, it was like 20,000 a pop for every upgrade I put in after that. And I kept it pretty basic with like the engine and all that stuff. So what it comes down to, pretty plain and simple, is do you guys have the money to spend on this thing? And if you don't have the money to spend on it, then it's probably not the route to go for you. Now, in the realm of drift cars, what are you getting out of it when it comes to that price? Well, there's some great drift cars in the low end, which is why it really hurts these more expensive cars unless they drift phenomenally. And this just is not a phenomenal drifter, guys. It's a little bit of a drifter, as you're seeing me trolling the handbrake sliders out here. This is still something fun to do. I'm not going to take that away. Long story short, the cost, I have to give it a little bit lower of a grade. And it might sound a little bit abnormally low to you guys because you like this car a lot, but I can't be biased to anything. So it's going to get a 4 for cost. Here's the issue. It's too expensive for what you're getting out of it. I can go get a Schwarzer Rapid GT, and if I want something that drifts a heck of a lot better than this and spend something like this for a mount, I'd go get the Comet Retro. That thing would probably serve me much better than this, or the 900R. Oh, into the pole. Another one in that range, this range, which they just drift much, much better than this thing drifts. Now, this thing still drifts, so that's why it's scoring. It's why it's getting a score. 4 it is. That's going to bring us into driftability, so let's talk about the driftability. What could it have been increased on? Now, I understand it's not the highest of powered cars in real world, but it could have been a little bit more powered here for us to have a good drift car. So again, driftability, it's not going to score abnormally low because it does drift, and when we've already kept in account cost, now we're just keeping in the driftability for account, it's going to score a 6. It's below average, but it's right there. It is unique. If you wanted to make this thing happen and really get good at it, I'm pretty sure... That was really weird. I didn't really let off the gas, but I just started spinning out. If you really wanted to get good with this car, I think you probably could. Now, is it a Formula drift car or a Pro-Line drift car, something that's going to be a competitive-wise drift car? For one, it's sports classic, so you'd have to have some type of sports classic event, in which case maybe it is then in that class, but in the sports class, no, it's not. It just is not. That's going to bring us into the final aspect, and that's efficiency. Now, efficiency as a drift car, it's pretty good. I stanced it up. I didn't blow it up once. If you want to keep in account all of the crazy upgrades and all of the things that you can keep to make it a one-of-a-kind car, that I don't know if that's quite efficient, but I've always kind of kept that in account for this, since it's not really... It's kind of kept in account for cost, but the whole thing of the cost. Though just the ability to upgrade the car, make it your own car. It's a cool aspect that they have in this game to where you can just customize cars in general, but they've really, in the last year or two, been bringing it, ever since the Benny's update, really, they've been bringing it up and beyond with the amount of customizations you can do to these things. What are we going to give it here? I think it deserves a pretty decent grade just for the fact that it's a new car, it's a real-world drift car in the sense that you would see it out on the track every now and again. It's kind of a rare car just in general, but all in all, I think it deserves a 7 here. So it's going to be a 4, a 6, which brings us to 13, and 7 on that, which is 20. So 20 out of 30 for the Karin 190z, aka the Datsun 240. This is a very cool car in my opinion. It could be better in drifting, but I could still probably hold on to it in my drift car and be happy with it for a while. Now, will it make, say, the top 10 list of drift cars? I guess you'll have to wait and see. But yes, the top 10 drift cars of GTA 5 will be coming out in a video coming up soon. I don't want to put a date or a time on it because it's going to be a higher editing, there'll be 10 hours of editing in the dang video probably. But long story short, I look forward to offering that to you guys in the future. In the meantime, I'm happy to offer this to you guys. Thank you all for supporting this channel. Thank you all for not going freaking out on me for not posting 5 days a week. I was going through developing real world stuff because I actually had the time to do it. And kind of getting to the end of all of that stuff and getting back to it. So, thank you guys. I do thank you guys. I do definitely appreciate all of you tuning in, liking, comment, and subscribe, and sharing the videos if you're sharing the videos. If you're not sharing the videos, I ask that you please think about doing that. Where do I share the videos? Social media, anywhere. Forums that you find, anywhere. Just throw out the word because it will ultimately help grow this channel. And just a couple extra people on this channel can turn into 100 extra people in the long run. That's how it works. Snowball effect, YouTube. As I always heard, I hope y'all stay happy, stay positive, and we will definitely speak to all of you next time.